You're listening to the Minutes on Growth podcast, the show that brings you mindfully curated insights into relationships, spirituality, personal development, and everything in between, with your host, Tannaz Hosseinpour. Hi, soul friends, it's Tannaz Hosseinpour, and welcome back to another short solo episode of Minutes on Growth. I just finished putting the final touches on a relationship masterclass that I'm presenting online this Sunday on healthy communication. And as I was finishing the slides, I thought to myself, all these tools that I have studied and that I'm sharing and that I would love for everyone to learn, does mastering them guarantee success in any dynamic? And while I'd love to say that it will, the truth is that no matter how skilled we are at the art of communication, we simply cannot communicate our way to a healthy relationship with an emotionally unavailable partner, which made me recognize a pattern that I'm seeing quite often in my own private practice, and that is attracting emotionally unavailable partners. Now, I want to begin this podcast episode by saying that when it comes to relationships, it's not about who we attract, but rather who we entertain that matters. So now the question is, why are we entertaining emotionally unavailable partners? A couple of weeks ago, one of my one-on-one clients that has been working with me for many years told me that she was going on a date with a man who seemed great on paper. He even had all the physical attributes she desired in her dream man. To make things even better, their date went great. They had an amazing time together, and they even had great chemistry. However, after a couple of weeks, he told her that he wasn't looking for a serious relationship, and he was really honest about it. He even told her that, he had a bad experience, and at that moment in time, he wasn't emotionally available for a relationship. In that moment, she really was devastated. I mean, we talked about it, and she was really sad and disappointed. Everything seemed to have been going well, if only he had not brought it up. But in that moment, she had a choice. And the key word here is choice. So her first option was to either continue seeing him despite what he had straight up honestly told her, which, by the way, is amazing that he didn't, lead her on or he didn't ghost her. He was really honest about where he was in his life and what he wanted and what he wasn't available for. So she had the option to continue seeing him like she had in the past when she would entertain emotionally unavailable men. And she would do that in the past because this is a choice that we usually make when we listen to the inner critic who tries to convince us that, healthy relationships don't exist, especially if we haven't had them modeled to us as children, or, tries to manipulate us by using feelings of lack to convince us that we're not good enough to even have this type of relationship and that, she should just settle for breadcrumbs. Or, the critic trying to convince us that our needs aren't even as important as we think they are, and we could try to change ourselves to make it work. Or the fixer voice inside of us, that fixer voice that dismisses all the facts and says, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I can fix him. I can change him into committing. I'm different. He just doesn't know how amazing I can be. And once I do X, Y, and Z that he likes, he'll change his mind. Or, for a change, she had a second option. She could choose the much more difficult choice of walking away, of breaking the pattern of entertaining unavailable men, and finally creating a new narrative for herself and for her future. The first choice provided instant gratification, but in the long run would honestly be extremely painful because the chances of him changing are not in her control. And she'll end up on a hamster wheel of always feeling like she's not enough. She's not good enough for him, regardless of whether she's mastered all the relationship skills that exist. while the second choice would force her into discomfort, instant discomfort, but it's temporary, and one that will allow her the opportunity to choose better for herself, to experience a more expansive form of love, a type of love that the generations before her weren't able to have because they weren't even aware of the differences between being emotionally available and unavailable. And by doing so, she would open the portal of healthy love for generations to come as well. Now, if my client was emotionally unavailable herself, or if she was unaware of her triggers or her inner critic's voice, then the first choice would have been more likely. But this wasn't the case because my client has done the inner work, and she was well aware of her triggers, how her inner critic usually talks to her, so the tone of the critic. And more importantly, she had set an intention in our sessions to only attract and entertain emotionally available partners, emotionally available and emotionally mature partners, so that she could co-create the loving and secure relationship her soul not only truly desired, but was ready for. A relationship where she could use all the tools that she had learned and actually see the fruits of her own labor. So she made the difficult decision of leaning into the second option, the one that led her to temporary discomfort in exchange for delayed but long-lasting gratification in the future. And let me tell you, saying no to that initial spark, that initial chemistry can be extremely challenging. And sometimes the right decisions are difficult. But I cannot emphasize how many portals of blessings we open up every time we heal a part of ourselves that we had dismissed in the past, either intentionally or subconsciously. So friends, I'm here to remind you that, first of all, change is possible. It's difficult, yes, because we're going, against what is familiar, against her comfort zone. But if we commit to doing the inner work and showing up to the best of our ability every single day, then it's definitely possible. After all, if the desire exists within you to experience a certain type of love, a love where, both partners can communicate in a way that has them both feeling heard, seen, and valued, then not only are you meant for it, but it means that you're ready for it. So trust that desire and allow yourself to sit in the discomfort, of letting go of what does not serve you, with full trust that by doing so, the universe will reward your courage. I am sending you all lots of love, and I truly pray and hope that as a collective, we build up that, that trust and that courage to only entertain people and situations that serve our highest good and the highest good of all. Thank you for listening. Speak soon. Thank you for joining us this week on Minutes on Growth. If you enjoyed today's episode, then make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now.